Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Nath, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist. Every Tuesday, the Access team takes inspiration from a recent or upcoming release to start a conversation about some of our favourite games. This week, we're looking at 6 mini-games we spent longer playing than the actual game. Just for the record, mine would have been photo mode in Uncharted, and I don't care if that's cheating. And now, Holly kicks us off with a bit of Yakuza.
So, Yakuza Kiwami has just come out. So for anyone who doesn't know, Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the original Yakuza. Now, I've only just started playing it, so I'm like, at the point of making this video, I'm 3 hours in.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna talk about Yakuza 0,
Right.
which is a prequel to Yakuza Kiwami.
Right.
And that I devoured. It is one of the best games I played. I played it last year. It's one of the best games I played of last year. The mini games are this is peak mini gaming. Now, while the karaoke is super fun and you can do all kinds of different darts and everything like that, the best of all of them is one of Goro's mini games, which is the cabaret club management.
Tell me about it, because I'm hearing club management and I'm thinking, I'm not interested.
You will be.
Okay.
It's a host club.
Right.
So not only do you have to go around the city and hire the girls to work in your clubs, either by unlocking them via CP or unlocking them via quests. If you beat this certain quest line, you unlock this girl that she'll come work in your club. And then you get to pick their hairstyle and their makeup and what outfits they wear.
Uh-huh.
And then once you're ready to go live, customers start coming in, and you have to assign a girl to the customer based on what you think they would like.
Okay.
And then you have to try and keep the customer happy. And all this is on a timer. But also the girls' personalities.
Right.
Some might be cute and some might be flirty, and you've kind of got to match them up.
All the personality types though.
All the ones that matter when you're running a host club.
True that.
But there's little symbols next to the patrons, and you can see how happy or annoyed they are with the person sat next to them. So you have to swap the girls out. But you're managing 8 of these booths at once, and the customers are constantly turning over. And then once the customer's ready to leave, you can either try and give them a gift or entice them to stay longer and spend more. And then the girls have health bars. So if they're constantly making them, yeah.
Oh my god.
Because if you constantly,
What happens to these clubs?
because if you constantly make them work, they get tired and can't work.
Right.
So if you maybe,
Tiredness bar.
oh, it's not okay. The girls have a tiredness bar. But then you've obviously got, if you've got 1 or 2 really, really great girls, you can't have them work all the time because they're just going to get too tired.
Uh-huh.
So you've got to be leveling them all up.
Right.
Seriously, that should just be a game on its own. I'd pay money for that as a standalone game, for sure.
Right, I see your hostess club, Holly, and I raise you Gwent, which we can all agree, right, is a great, amazing minigame. It's probably the best minigame. In fact, it is the best minigame. I'm just calling it now. It's a game so good that they have made it into a game, which doesn't make a lot of sense, really, because I said it wrong. But Gwent is its own standalone game now because it's that good. And if you don't know Gwent, it's from The Witcher 3, which also is quite good. So worth looking into if you're not sure about it. And it's a card game. It's a collectible card game. When you first start playing Gwent, you have a sort of rubbish starter deck, and as you go through the world, you can buy cards, you can win cards, you can do quests for cards. It's one of those amazing games that you think when you first start playing it is incredibly simple. And I guess it is simple, but on the face of it, and I definitely was guilty of this, because each of your cards has a value. It's basically a battle. It's a 2-player game. You play against someone else, and you have largely like an army. Your cards are different roles within your army, but they're also special cards. And you are just laying down your cards against your opponent, and there are 3 different sort of layers of the army, like the front line, and then there's artillery at the back, and ranged in the middle. And it's just a battle of numbers. If you want to boil it down to its simplest, it's just a battle of numbers. So I've got some infantry with the number 3 on it. Rob's got some infantry with the number 2 on it. If that was it, I would win. It's just a battle of numbers. But it's so much more than that. And once you start to play it, that kind of becomes obvious. It kind of reveals itself very slowly. The way that they introduce Gwent in the game is fantastic, I think, because at first it is very simple like that, and as you play it more, you kind of become aware of what's possible. You meet an opponent with a different card you've never seen before, and you see how that changes the game. I think, I don't know, I think, no, I haven't. I was going to say I've played more Gwent than I have Witcher 3. That's not true, but
nearly true.
I can't turn on The Witcher 3 without playing a game of Gwent. Like I would never do a quest in The Witcher 3 and then think, oh, I'll turn the game off now. I'd think, I'll go and have a game of Gwent and then I'll turn the game off. And then I'll have 10 games of Gwent. It's fantastic.
So probably the first minigame I ever got really into was Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII, which is way better than Tetramaster from Final Fantasy IX. It's the best minigame that's ever been in a Final Fantasy game, closely followed by the Chocobo breeding and racing in 7. But Triple Triad...
Put on the screen at this point, Dave slowly shakes his head.
Why?
Just during that bit.
Just look at
Because I
me.
don't know what you're talking about.
It's a card game.
Okay.
You're talking about Gwent.
Yeah, Gwent's
A
brilliant.
card game.
Probably better than
It's
Triple Triad.
Gwent is probably, Gwent is probably deeper than Triple Triad, but Triple Triad has a beautiful simplicity to it on the surface. You basically get cards that represent monsters and characters from the game, down to like low-level bite bugs, which are like the easy rubbish monsters, right up to your summons or guardian forces, as they're called in Final Fantasy VIII. So you can get cards for them, and then you can get cards for your actual playable characters, and they're like the best cards, and collecting them is really difficult. You got anyone in the game press square to see if they play Triple Triad. Probably around 40-50% of the NPCs in Final Fantasy VIII will play Triple Triad. And collecting the cards in itself is its own pleasure. Just going to a new area, finding all the characters who might have the rare cards. For instance, Zell's mum has Zell's card. Zell is in your party, Dave. He's like a guy in your party.
I love it that you have to break this down.
Yeah, and you play it. Each card has a number on each side, so 4 numbers. And you put a card down on the board, and if the number facing the card that's next to it is higher than that card's number on that adjacent side, then you flip the card. And that's how you play Triple Triad at its simplest level. And then you get exciting rules like plus, where if you've got a card and it's got a card on top of it and on the side of it, and the numbers match up on both sides and add to the same thing, even if your numbers are lower, you will still flip both of those cards. And more exciting rules come in as you progress, like elemental rules. So some cards have like elemental properties. So Ifrit has a fire card, and if you put him on a fire square, his values go up. Yeah. But it's a really, really addictive game once you start playing it. And the cool thing about it is one of your GS learns an ability that allows you to turn those cards into really rare and valuable items.
It's in Final Fantasy 14.
It is, yeah.
It is in Final
Fantasy 14. I have played it online against other people in Final Fantasy 14. I've only played 3 online games in 14 of Triple Triad. I won all 3.
Quit while you're on top, Rob.
So I did. I retired there.
100% win rate.
I'm not going to get better than this. And I did 1 Chocobo race as well. I won that.
I did like 1, and then I had to do 1 for some capture, and Wheeler didn't even edit in the bit where I won.
Oh.
Even though I said in the video I won, I thought, if he's going to put any part of this video, it'll be my significant win at the Chocobo races.
It's not about you, Holly, it's about the game.
He's cut this bit out too.
Now, since I can't mention Final Fantasy again, because like I can't keep mentioning Final Fantasy.
But Rob and I have got another bet on, Holly. I'm going to lose a lot of money.
No. Final Fantasy is great minigames, but another game that had a minigame that I really enjoyed was Sparrow Racing in Destiny.
Oh yeah.
So I am a bit of a Destiny fan. I am by no means actually good at Destiny, but I pour hours into it playing with friends. And then the SRL came in, which is the Sparrow Racing League. So for anyone who doesn't know, originally the community itself used to arrange Sparrow races because it was just sort of out in the patrol missions. So the Bungie team actually made it a game. It sort of comes around, it lasts for a few weeks and it leaves. It's a bit like the Iron Banter, but it's less frequent.
Did you deliberately call it the Iron Banter?
Yeah, so it's got 2 names in where I work. It's either the Iron Banana or the iron banter. I prefer iron banter,
Yeah.
personally. So, yeah, before anyone makes a comment, I know it's called Iron Banner. Oh my God, it's the Iron Banter. But they basically introduced, originally it was 2 tracks, and it wasn't about fighting, it was an actual racing game.
Yeah.
At first I was like, oh, you know what, I really just don't need this. I'm not massively competitive, which is why I don't PvP in Destiny. Do I really need to keep coming last in this? And I was like, yeah, I do, actually. Like all the time. It was so much fun. You just you have your couple of friends with you, and then obviously the other online players. And it was just nice. You'd bring your tricks on your Sparrow, and you unlock different horns, and then different Sparrows. I had like the King's horn, which is like, Mah! And like it was just basically how much can I go around the track just spamming, Mah! Mah! And everyone's like, oh, I had the duck horn, and it just went quack.
Nice.
Like as you went around, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing ever, and I love it. I did all right. I completed my Sparrow racing book,
That's good.
so that means I couldn't
What's the
have.
Sparrow racing book?
So when you unlock the Sparrow Racing League, you get like a completionist book, and it'll be like, come first 10 times on Mars, and come first 10. You know, it's like things like that, and it's like, you know, kill X number of enemies while racing, and you get stuff for doing it. So I did that. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
I thought the gear was a bit fancy as well.
So my next game, I think we'll all agree, is Vostok Inc. So do I even need to say anything more about Vostok Inc. or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Vostok Inc. Everybody, you fools. Is
the first time ever.
it's quite a new game on PS4 and PS Vita, and my God, this is like one of those PS Vita games that you will play for hours. You will be like finding reasons to go on the train. Like, maybe I'll go to London today. I don't know. I'll just take my Vita. Vostok Inc. We've got a video about it on the channel. It's hard to describe. It's like a twin stick shooter space management game where you're like a businessman with a spaceship who's like mining worlds, and you're setting up this business and you're getting loads of money. Vostok Inc. is great, but more specifically, within Vostok Inc., you can find floating in space managers to manage your business. You can get floating in space. Yeah, I think they've like their escape pods have like exploded or something. You have to get them before they run out of oxygen, or else they just die. And you can find middle management and like upper management. They might be called something different. So as part of that, there's a mini game to keep your upper management happy, and it's a bit like a Tamagotchi. You give them food, you give them presents, and they stay happy. And stop looking like that and just listen.
I just don't understand, Dave.
Well,
take on board.
What kind of managers? Football managers?
no, business managers, yeah.
Managers of what kind of business?
Well, obviously,
business.
space mining managers. Look,
Why are they floating in space?
it's not supposed to make sense, Rob. Stop trying. Just watch this back. Dan will have put very illustrative gameplay over the top, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And you have to keep them happy. And as I said, you give them food, you give them gifts, and they're like Tamagotchis. But the way you get food, or one of the ways you get food, is each one of them comes with a mini game. And this manager, I can't believe this is wearing me out getting to this point.
I thought the managers was the
It's a mini game within a mini game. The game for keeping this particular manager happy is Wood Guy Jr. And Wood Guy Jr. is the most simple game ever, and I think it's based on another game, maybe a mobile game. And all it is, it's like lovely like 8-bit graphics or something, you know. It's just a tree trunk, and you're a man with an axe, and you have to chop from either the left side or the right side, and you just press left on the D-pad or right on the D-pad, and every time you chop, the tree comes down, and you need to be on the other side from branches, so you don't get crushed by a branch. And that's the game. So you just want to chop it's like the tree is endless, you know. You just chop left and right. That's all you're doing. And there's a timer. There's like a bar of time that goes down, but every time you successfully chop, the bar goes up a little bit. So you have to chop quite fast to keep the time limit up. My high score is 192, and I promise you will struggle to beat that. And the reason,
Someone's already commented below. Someone's already commented.
well, good luck to them. I hope they do, and I will need to see evidence of it. My high score is 192, and I remember vividly getting that high score and thinking, like, you know, when, like, almost out of body. Like, I was like, I don't know how, my brain was thinking to itself, I don't know how I'm doing this now. And my thumb's still going like left, 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 right, right, left, left, right, right, like, and I'm going, I don't know how I'm doing this. And I'm a bit scared. Like, I was a bit scared of the power I'd unlocked. Like, it was like I could see the Matrix. That's the best way of putting it. This was one of those games I could see the Matrix. I'd hooked up, I'd wired my brain up perfectly to be able to do it. And for that reason, I think it's one of the best mini games. Within a mini game, I mean, come on, I've outdone you guys this week. A mini game within a mini game, within a small game that you can play on your Vita. I think it's probably one of the best ones out there. And that's just the first one. I don't even know what the other ones are. I think there's a first-person shooter mini game.
Wow.
Vostok Inc.
So my other mini game that I played for a ridiculous amount of time was fishing. Now, many RPGs have fishing in them, but my favourite RPG for fishing is Breath of Fire 4, which is also one of my favourite PS1 JRPGs. Fishing in Dark Chronicles cool, but fishing in Breath of Fire 4 beats it because it's got a really cool way of attracting the fish to your lure. Like, there's a little bit of music that plays when you fish in Breath of Fire 4, and you have to tap X to reel in your lure in time with the music to attract the fish. They like the music, and I can hear it in my head now. So it's did, and there's like 4 or 5 different techniques and rhythms you have to hit, and you have to master the really quite complicated ones to catch like the big, amazing fish. The biggest fish you can catch in Breath of Fire 4 isn't actually a fish, it's a whale. You can catch a whale and you have to use the spoon, which is like the ultimate lure for some reason.
Wow.
So you catch a whale with a spoon by like...
With a song.
With a song, yeah.
Is there like an on-screen button prompt? Like, is it, you know, you just have to hear these bits of music?
Yeah, the music's playing constantly as you fish. It's like a...
Right.
And you have to hit it. So you have to listen to this tune for ages.
Right.
And it's got little drum beats in it, and you just have to hear the drum beats and then tap X as the drum beats go. And if you get it successfully, it will come up with a little message like Technique 4.
Right.
So you know you've successfully completed it.
I'd be really good at that.
It's great.
Yeah, you would
And
be
it's
good.
so exciting because you get, you know, you break your size records for fish you've caught, and you get a little successful victory fanfare when you catch them.
What do you do with them? Do you eat them?
I can't actually remember. No, I don't think you do eat them. They go into like your little fish logbook, just so you can say, I've
Right.
caught that fish.
Put them back.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's just, you know, you get to loads of different fishing spots. Some are really secretive and hard to find on the world map. You can get like the ultimate rod, the ultimate lure, and oh, it was just great. A great game to while away the hours. Dave's just got a look on his face that's like, it's not as good as Gwent. It's not as good as Gwent.
I've just returned to my special place in my head just whilst you've been talking. Yeah, I just thought it was best because I just don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand?
Well, it's
It's got nothing to do with Final Fantasy, really. It's just a card game. It's just a nice, gentle card game which has depth to it if you want the depth to
The
it.
depth is in the game because
And-
it affects the game. Unlike Gwent.
I don't understand what you just said, Holly.
And nor did I. Thank you all for watching. Give us a like if you've enjoyed the video, and let us know in the comments what minigames you can't stop playing. Don't forget you can subscribe for more of these videos every Tuesday, and we'll see you next week.